live. That's right, boys and girls. It's Sunday. It's the 16th of February, and we're live. That's right. Looking back at yesterday's amazing performance against Plymouth Argyle. Looking forward to the week ahead. Of course, we don't know what the board are thinking, but lots to be said, lots to be thought about. And maybe we could put a full stop on the back end of John Eustace and get just talk a little bit about that. Today we are live, of course. Don't forget to jump in with the comments in the chat. I am joined by the lovely John T's in the house. How the devil are you? You're on.
Really good. I'm really good, especially after yesterday. I'm really good, mate.
Yeah, it was a game that it was a major banana skin. Of course, we haven't beaten Plymouth in a long, long time. We haven't played them many, many times, but definitely a good performance. Definitely, with all the chaos going on, you were there. Tell us about your match day experience.
Yeah, do you want me to go into all of that now? Yeah, okay. Like, just out of curiosity, Dirk, are you wearing a Plymouth top? That looks very green to me. Negative. Okay. Okay. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. No, I was nervous going into yesterday, given all the turmoil that had happened at Blackburn Rovers, given that Plymouth had started to find a little bit of form. They beat a Liverpool side, albeit they were the slightly junior team, shall we say. But even still, to hold out for the whole of that game and to take the 1-0 win is an amazing performance. They come off the back of Millwall, I think, and I went to Millwall away and we got beat 1-0 there. So to beat them 5-1 was just like phenomenal. So yeah, I was nervous about yesterday, but no. The guys, as we played against West Brom and again yesterday, it's like we've been let off our leash a little bit. There's a few more players that have been just given that a bit more freedom. Just go and enjoy your football. Almost strip it back to the basics of and the fundamentals of football, which is just go and enjoy yourselves and let's see what happens. And that's what it felt like. The first 15 minutes, I thought we were really, really good. We kind of just dropped off a little bit, and I was a little bit surprised / disappointed at Plymouth. They set up for me for a draw. They didn't really threaten us or cause us any issues. I don't recall seeing any of their fans get excited during that first half. And the guys in and around me in the at half time, we just basically said that what the Plymouth are here for the taking. I think they surprised a few people, especially coming off the back of that Millwall win, sort of thing. So, and yeah, a good performance, a solid performance. Yeah, Adam Forshaw to get that goal. I'm still questioning whether he did actually run over to his family or did he actually go and stick it in the face. I've got my own view on it. I'm going to say it on air. I think it was a little bit of in your face, Plymouth. That's my personal feeling because then he also turned to the Plymouth fans and he kind of went like that. And I was just thinking, well, his family aren't over there. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, but you can't blame me. He hasn't scored a goal for 9 years. I'll tell you what, if that was me, I'd probably run around naked. Do you know what I mean? It's just which will probably clear the stands very, very quickly. But yeah, no, it was a good performance. Like I say, I was nervous going into it, but I think they feared Rovers a little bit more. And they set up. I mean, people call it a 3-5-2, but I think they were more 5-5-3-2 sort of thing. They seem very, very defensive, but a great win. You know, Mr. Lowe, fantastic job that he's doing. I'm sure we're going to come on to this, so I'm going to peak too soon. Story of my life, but yeah, it'll be interesting what happens when we lose. Let's just say that I won't say any more at this point, but it's all well and good whilst we're riding that crest of the wave. But what happens when we lose? Do we then go on a bit of a winless run, or do we, can Mr. Lowe bring it straight back in? but
Yeah,
who
yeah.
knows?
Everyone's all about it right now, and low in for the season and stuff like that. I'll just do a little sort of underline on this. I think Lowe should remain no matter what, whether he is given the job or whether he's still in the backroom staff. As long as he's there, it's still I don't think we're going to lose too much. But yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. Denver, were you there also watching the game yesterday?
I watched the game, but I wasn't there yesterday. No, I was coaching in Crewe, which was mad enough. It was funny enough actually, because we went into the building, and as I walked in, they got a photo in the main building, and Harry Pickering was on that wall. So a little nod to Rovers there, but no, I wasn't there. Also, I've just come back, literally straight back from coaching, and everyone's in a really good mood, Blackburn wise. But our girls lost today, and it was so. I'm in like a crappy mood right now, and I'm you asking me to come on the podcast. I'm like, we won yesterday. I should be in a better mood, but mate, I'm like in the gutter. But no, I watched the game yesterday. Managed to get home. I was tempted to go and have a little drive up to back up to Blackburn and try and catch the game, but I calculated it, and it was like by the time I got there, it would have been like 20 minutes in the first half. But I thought I could get home in time, watch the full game, so I did that. Watched the game, and a really good result. Really, really well played. First half maybe not loads of chances, but we had the better of the half. And then the second half, after at least both the second goal anyway, we kind of just nullified the rest of of Plymouth, and and the same with John as well as me. I was really worried about the game. They've just come off again beating Millwall 5-1. I'm thinking, all right, okay, this is going to be a hell of a game with no manager. We might not be so lucky here. But no, we did a really good job and played our stuff and played really well with some of these players coming back and the players on the bench. We're not looking at the likes of Dennis still, not and Hashi and we're looking really good at the minute. Look, of course, when we lose is a very different situation, and whoever comes in, we've got to wait and see. But no, yesterday's performance, very very happy with it. I can't think of really anything that was. I think Pearsley had a few moments where it was a bit like, gasped a few times. But once that second goal went in, it seemed pretty comfortable from a Blackburn perspective. But no, really enjoyed the game yesterday. I was happy before until other footballing events in my life has kind of ruined my mood. But anyway, no.
Well, commiserations on your girls' loss there, but I'm sure they'll bounce back with you at the helm, with your tutelage. But it was a good week for Rovers, picking up 6 points out of 6, respectable week, especially with all the chaos, especially against Mowbray. I know he had the better of us the last time he managed against us. I think it might have been Birmingham with Eustace at the helm. I think it was the last time, maybe, because I think he might have been sick the second time we played him. I don't know, but anyway, it was good to get one over him and Adam Armstrong. I'm going to try and share the screen here if this is going to let me do it. I don't know how to do it. How do I do it? Okay, I know how to do it. We do it like this. There we go. So yeah, slick. I'm getting it. I'm getting the hang of it. So of course, yeah, this was a bit of a snippet last night. Kudos to Tyree Stone, and he's really stepping it up these past couple of games. Definitely seems to be a player reborn now. Who else has been stepping it up a little bit? I don't know. Who else has upped their game in your eyes, John T, over the past couple of games?
That is such a leading question. Dirk, honestly, why don't you just talk to me about Max Orgay? Seriously, mate. Seriously.
I'm not being. Well, yes, he has upped his game, but honestly, he was involved a little bit yesterday, but not as much. As he has been. But yeah, definitely upped his game, and yeah, he's definitely. Jacob's not here at the moment to grill you on that, which is
to be fair, I had a couple of words off camera with Jacob yesterday. For anybody that's seen the vlog, we had a little chat, and then we was like, let's put this on camera. But I said to him, and I seriously thought about sellotaping some form of hard-boiled egg to my face to come onto this podcast, because you know what, it's not often I get it wrong. When I normally see a player, I normally think, yeah, they're going to be okay, or no, they're not. And when I make my decision that no, they're not going to be okay, normally I've been proven right throughout it. But I just couldn't see any way that Big Mac was going to make a player in this league. I thought he might be a good League One player, but I just couldn't see him making it in the Championship. But now, to be fair, the guy's been improving. And, up until the West Brom game, I had a little bit of a saying for you, Dirk. I was going to say, like, one swallow doesn't make a summer, just because he's had a couple of good games. But no, West Brom for me really, really underpinned that he could be a genuine threat. And I think what's made it really difficult for me, being 47 years old, I'm sure people who watch this are probably bored of listening to that. But if we think of all the great people that have worn that number 9 shirt, it was just a bit of an. I'm reluctant to say it, but I'm going to say it was a bit of an insult to see him wearing the number 9 shirt. But for me, on Wednesday night against West Bromwich Albion, he absolutely deserved that number 9 shirt. He worked his nuts off, he was just a real handful. Took his goals brilliantly. I mean, people wax lyrical about the first goal that he scored, which was like a bit of a scissor kick. It was a corner that came in, headed back across the box, and then he did a scissor kick. And even my wife, that's a 6-fingered dingle, she was like, "Wow, bloody hell, that was a great goal." And it was, But for me, the second goal, how well he took that. He kind of, the ball went. Travis, the ball from Travis. Let's not forget that, because again, when I talk about people being off the leashes, I think under any other manager, Travis would have just played the safe ball, which was the overlap to Britain, who would have then crossed it in, and God knows what would have happened. But no, Travis had the vision. He crossed it right across to the other side to Wyman. And then he didn't have the cleanest of connections, but it fell, and it fell beautifully to Maktar, who kind of dropped his shoulder and then turned and scored it. And I was off my seat with that. And yeah, Big Mac for me is becoming a real threat and a real good proposition for the Championship football. Other people that have raised the game, Travis for me just goes from strength to strength. He looked well, I was going to say wobbly with Tronstad out, but obviously Travis went out first, and we've not seen that pairing for quite what seems like a lifetime now. But Travis has come on again in leaps and bounds in the absence of Tronstad. I thought Buckley had a great game against West Brom. He played slightly further up the field as well, which for me is better position. Whilst he sits in deep and that last man sort of thing, I don't think that's his best position, but he played a little bit further up. I'm liking a couple of the new signings that we're seeing. The guy at left back, Ribeiro, he's a solid guy. It's just a really exciting time. I thought Adam Forshaw, whilst he did the ugly stuff brilliantly yesterday, got his goal, thoroughly deserved, and that's really put him on the radar. But going back to Dolan, Dolan always worries me a little bit, because is he just wanting a contract? Is he wanting to move elsewhere? Are we going to have to pay him a load of money for him to stay? I'd like to think, if there's any loyalty in football, we stood by Tyrese Dolan. I'd like him to stay, of course I would. I'd like him to have more consistency. But yeah, there's a really good vibe about Rovers at the minute, and yeah, like I say, they're playing with a bit more freedom, a little bit more off the leash. Just go and enjoy your football, and let's see what we can do.
Yeah. So it's great couple of games, 6 points out of 6, and getting a bit of a gap between ourselves and the chasing pack. And here is the table sort of point. Well, we're kind of in the way of it a little bit, but here it is. Of course, 4 points clear over 7th place Coventry, who are on a bit of fire right now. So opportunity may be in it's in our hands right now, but the games are going to get more difficult.
To be fair to Coventry, that was a great away win at Sheffield Wednesday. I know it was a bit last minute, but to go to Hillsborough and to get that win, when Sheffield Wednesday being in quite a bit of form that's a fantastic result. Fair play to Frank Lampard,
Mhm.
Lamp Frank Pard. That's a new one, isn't it? Frank Lampard. He's doing a good job. He's doing a good job at Coventry.
Yeah, he took. He also got a win over QPR as well in quick.
He did.
Yeah, so back to back 2-1 wins, late wins as well, and they're right on the curtails. Bristol City don't go away. It is a crazy playoff race as it always is. But right now, yeah, like you said, Rovers playing well, back to back wins. Yeah, Denver, what about you? What are your thoughts moving into this sort of long week now of no Rovers games until Saturday when we do take on Swansea? In Wales, and we'll hopefully have a new coach by that point, or at least an answer to it. But what's your feeling about Rovers, the players, anyone that's caught your eye in the last two matches that we haven't really covered about here tonight?
I mean, I was going to mention Dolan, how really the past two games has been really good, and hopefully it's not just a flash in the pan, and it's a case of it will continue through his through the rest of the season. But who's impressed me other than the ones that we've mentioned? Trying to have a little think now. I mean, they've all done their bit, ultimately, and no one's really been really poor. But Robert looked really good at left back. Just what Owens needed, that little bit of a break, I think, because he was really looking legging. Of course, that's proven how good Roberto's been since coming in. I think Sanderson coming in, he's not looked out of place at all. He's had a few moments where I've been, but realistically, it's been pretty good. He's come in and done a job for Danny Barth. Britain looks good as always, even with his new haircut. Honestly, I've got no real complaints with the group at the minute. Other than, of course, the ones that we mentioned, like Miktar being really good and firing, and just confidence in his veins at the minute is class to see. With the likes of Hashi now on the brink of coming back, and all these players about to come back, it's a really exciting time. It's just having that head coaching now to really step up and hopefully take us to a good league table. Of course, I'm looking at that table. I'm in fifth place, but just look at how much of a gap there is between the top four, and we know how much of a gap. And you look at the losses between those four. I think there's 4 and 3 and 3 losses, and there's us with 12 and fifth. It is quite okay. We're not as much as it feels great to be fifth. It is. We are at a low bar this season in terms of playoff chasing those last 2 spots. But let's just hope we can keep pushing on and keeping at least in the conversation, at least until the end of the season, keep it a bit exciting for us. But I am worried for us moving into next season with the amount of players, of course, like your Dolans and that out of contract, and what the future holds. And that possibly, of course, is the reason why Eustace has gone, because of the uncertainty of next season. Look, we've got to wait and see. Of course, maybe people at the hierarchs are looking into next season, and we're going to have to definitely invest heavily if we do go up. But I am worried that we don't go up, and then we've got an even bigger problem trying to stay in the league. But look, currently, I don't want to get too down and gloomy in what could be later on in a few months. But currently, we're playing some really good stuff. The next game, Swansea in Wales. Not near me. I'm in North, they're in South. But look, let's just hope for another good performance at least. We've got a lot of players coming back. Hayden Carter was on the bench, of course, on the weekend, and let's just hope we get some of these bodies back. And we've got a great chance to stay in the playoffs. And you never know what can happen in the playoff finals, semi-finals. You never know.
Yeah. Can I just pick up on that? I mean, yeah, to be fair to you, Denver, you've mentioned one player that absolutely deserves a shout out, and that's Dion Sanderson. I thought he had the fact that we're not really talking about him in either a positive or a negative light. For me, that says that he's been solid. He's kind of thrown into the mix, thrown into the deep end, shall we say, at West Brom. He handled it superbly, and then again yesterday, the fact that we didn't concede and there's no real talking points. Pears was not really threatened. His main threat was when we were 2-0 up, which is always going to be the case. But but no, I don't know how true this is, but has he only played one game this season for
Birmingham.
Birmingham
It
City?
was
If that.
Lowe. He
Yeah.
might have played a few in like the Football League Trophy or something like that. He wasn't maybe one or two
Yes,
league games. It is
he's
bonkers.
just Dominic Iam and Sanderson. Yeah, what a great pairing they were, sort of thing. So, whilst it's great that we see Hayden Carter coming back, he might struggle to get in,
Oh yeah,
because
for sure.
Danny Barr's done a great job. But I mean, the only other person that's a little bit concerning at the minute, and maybe it's just a case of me managing my own expectations, is Todd Cantwell.
He looked good yesterday, though.
Mm.
He was very good yesterday.
He did better. He did better. It's again, it's the same as Mac Targay, that whilst everyone was sort of saying he's doing brilliantly up until sort of West Brom, I thought, no, he's getting better. Do you know what I mean? He's not still the finished article, but Todd Cantwell for me is just so frustrating. Sometimes you don't need to do that pivot, and all of the showboating. Do that when you're 3-4-0 up with 5 minutes to go, sort of thing. You don't need to do it when you're 0-0 and you're looking for the first goal, sort of thing. I don't want to jump on his back. He's not that. He's just frustrating. I'm starting to think, will he just be one of those players that will just be so much better for us to come off the bench and be an impact player? Because that's where I'm seeing a little bit more from him, that he can frustrate the opposition. But starting him, I want the guy to do really well. The guy's class, the guy's quality, but the amount of times he gives that ball away, or he's frustrating.
I probably that will probably be echoed if we do lose a game 1-0 and it is a result of a Cantwell error. People will be on his back for that, and I'm more on your side on this one, Johnny. Like you see with the other players, or the majority of other players, there's a lot more tracking back, a lot more running, a lot more effort to make amends from a mistake or a misplaced pass or something. So Cantwell, I've seen maybe in the first couple of games there was more desire in him to do that, but recently he's just been too lethargic after an error. And I just think, and I do get frustrated by him, but he's just one crucial silky pass could lead to a goal, and all is here.
Yeah, exactly that. I think you've nailed it there. Yeah, he doesn't track back. He doesn't put the effort in that all the other lads do, sort of thing. And he's the first one to go down and stay down as well. And we don't need to see that. And we need grafters. RTL Labor literally means by skill and hard work. He's got the skill. I'm just not seeing the hard work. But Dirk, I watched your watch along for West Brom, and you actually gave a shout out to me. You were like, "John T, you're not there. That's why we're winning this. John T, are you watching?" I wasn't watching. I'll be honest with you. I just wanted to see your face on the goals, mate, because your goal reactions are sensational. Sort of thing. You just kind of stare at the screen, and then you just facial expression. Yeah. I know it makes me jump, even though I know what's coming. He makes me jump. It's
I have to block the chat. I have to block the score so I don't see it, because sometimes people will see it ahead of me and they'll put it in there and they'll ruin it. But that's why I try to be genuine. But no, all is good on paper, and there are still little lumps, I think. But what we're going to do now is we're not going to talk about the elephant in the room just yet. If I can figure this out. There we go. We're going to talk about, because we haven't had a chance to do this, about the 6 signings, the significant development that we have invested in the squad here. We're going to go through them one by one. And from your initial, I want you, like, either I'm going to go from left to right. Denville, you'll be first. There'll be a picture of one of the signings. You're going to give me your sort of opinion on the guy, whether it's what you've seen of him so far or his track record. Now, you've just given me a score between 1 and 10 of your excitement level of him thus far, from what you've seen of him, etc., etc. You ready?
As ready as I can be.
Ready? So your guy's going to be right in the top left-hand corner. Here he comes. It is bottom left-hand corner. It's Mr. Sanderson.
I mean, when he initially come in, it didn't exactly fill me with loads of, like, oh, this guy's going to be... let's be honest, I did not know much of him. Didn't know much about him. He was a John Eustace signing. For apparently, he played his best football under him. I have a Birmingham friend who I quickly mentioned like what's he about and everything, and he just said, he played his best stuff under Eustace, and he's not really getting much game time. So it's like, okay, when you're looking at right, we want to try and push for these playoff places. You're looking at your Sunderland signing 3 or 4, players for 20 million, and you're looking at your West Brom side. Well, at this point, of course, it had Adam Armstrong, but Adam Armstrong and all these teams picking up some really class players, and we're signing someone from League One on loan for the rest of the season. Didn't exactly scream to me, we want to be pushing for playoffs, but fair play to the guys. In my head, he's just someone to pick, make the numbers with the injury crisis we had at the time. Now these players are coming back. I don't know how much game time he will eventually get, but he's come in now since Danny Bart's injury, and he's been phenomenal. To be fair, again, like Jonty said, it's not a case of we're not screaming his name after his debut when he made those 2 crunching tackles, but he's done the job. We've kept 2 clean sheets, and he's and he doesn't look like he's playing sort of football from another club at any point. He looks like he's been with us all season and looks really comfortable in that role. So, that might change in a few games' time, and with players coming back, you'd never know. But I think he's been really good. So I'd say rating out of 10. You said,
yeah.
I'd say for excitement wise, I would have said 2, 3. But since he's come in, he's been solid. So I'll give him a 6.
6. All right. Big old 6 on the screen right there. I got to colour that in, make it stand out a little bit. But I'll give you a little bit of background on this guy, because he actually he was actually like a £3 or £4 million signing for Birmingham from Wolves. I think the 6 is terrible, but you can get the gist. It is a 6. But I was actually pleasantly surprised. But that 6 is terrible. I can't even have that on there. I'm embarrassed by the state of that 6. How do I get rid of it? How do I go? Well, we're moving on. Next one. I'll try and figure that out. Ribeiro, Jonty, what are your thoughts on Ribeiro, the left back, coming in on a free from Braga? What are your thoughts about him?
Sorry, mate, I'm just a little bit distracted. I've got a load of girls outside with a Denver Green out placard, so I just need to, yeah. He don't look happy with that, does he?
That was not necessary, was it, Jonathan?
The banging on the window. Yeah,
Why?
yeah. You used to be Venky's out, his screen out now. Yeah. No, brilliant. I think the fact that we've not talked about the left back, Owen Beck's absence, and given that Owen Beck's had a fantastic season, and it's not often you hear Rovers fans singing about a left back. But the fact that this guy's come in and we've not really noticed the difference, I think can only be a massive compliment to him. That's a better 6, yeah, definitely. No, I think he's been solid. I like his vision. I like what he's trying to achieve. I think he takes single-handedly, almost takes that back line further up the field as well. As you know, I sit on the Riverside. I sit almost on the halfway line, so I get a really good view of him in the first half or the second half. And yeah, he's been absolutely solid for us. I'm really happy with this guy. I would give him an 8. I'll be honest with you. I mean, it's a bit of a leading question, isn't it? There's not many left backs that would excite you. I think Gary Neville once said, nobody dreams of being a left back, sort of thing. But
in all backs in general, right?
Yeah. I think he's been solid for us. His intent is right. He finds himself further up the field. He's looking for the cross. He links up well with whoever's in that left position. He'll go in field. He doesn't sit too deep. Yeah, brilliant. I think obviously Owen Beck more than likely will go back to Liverpool at the end of the season. I can't see us signing him. I think Harry Pickering might have his work cut out with this guy, but it's like we've said all season really, is that for the first time in a long time, almost every position across the whole field has genuine, legitimate, strong contest, and they're all fighting for the places now, rather than that. My name's the first name on the they said the hymn sheet, first name on the team sheet. they're all genuine contenders. And they need to battle for it.
Yeah, and that's good. Hopefully Rovers see it now, and we'll be already thinking about the future for this guy, because we don't want to be sweating on finding another left back when we've got a perfectly good one right here, and it seems to be settled in quite nicely. So Denver, next up, you get. Oh, I've still got the stupid pen on. How do we get that off? You got Carbo, AK-47.
I was looking forward to having this one. I think we've got a hell of a player on our hands here. Look, honestly, that Wolves game alone just showed his quality, and he was pretty much the only threat that game into just everything came down that left side, and he was the one attacking that ball. I'm sure even Wolves fans or any staff there were probably looking and going, bloody hell, who's this player? Like, he was that good. Of course, never scored anything. There was no end product. And the past 2 games, he hasn't really, been involved. He's come on in with 5 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go, and not done low. But when he's come on, he's not looked out of place. I'd like to see him have a full 90, because I think we've got some player here. I think he's fresh. I think he's new. I think he's excited to get on the ball and try and do stuff. I mean, that goal alone for Dolan. He's received the ball from Gay from a great back heel, and the fake shot has just given Dolan that bit of extra time as all these players have come over to give him that time when he's played that ball through. Honestly, class, just class. That's what that was, and yeah, I'm excited to see what he does in a Blackburn Rovers shirt. How long we'll keep him for, I don't know, and you never know with being in the Championship, and maybe because he's fresh at the minute, he's got all this excitement. You never know what manager's going to come in and maybe make him a bit more rigid and maybe not, have that freedom on the ball, and we'll just wait and see. But from what I've seen, he's been phenomenal. So if Roberta's an 8, but 9 seems too high in my head, honestly.
9.
What I've seen,
9.
and he's only played 5, but he's only played 15 minutes, of course, of 2 games since
9.
9. Fine, John T. He's
good lad.
Good lad.
And you want to jump in on that, John T? Your thoughts on the Whiz kid?
Yeah, no, I think he looks brilliant. He's everything that you want down that left-hand side. He's got pace, he's got vision. Do you know what? He reminds me a little bit, and I'm reluctant to say this because I hope he goes on to better things. But Scott Sellers, that he plays with no fear. He created that second goal for us, didn't he? He cut in, and I think he was expecting the ball back from Tyrese Dolan, but he took it. My only concern there, if you watch the second goal back for Rovers yesterday, is that I think he was expecting the return ball from Tyrese Dolan. He didn't. Tyrese obviously nailed it. He gave the eyes to the keeper that he's going to go to his right. He didn't. He went to his left. Brilliantly taken goal. But if you watch him, Cabarro, he just carries on running over to almost to the riverside, and Tyrese is doing his somersaults over in the left-hand side, sort of thing. So it looked a little bit like disjointed there. But I'm sure he's happy. But it's only a matter of time. But I'm really, really excited about this guy. It's just so refreshing to see somebody take on players and just have a go. I've said for so many times on that Riverside, take a player on. You're not going to be chastised by taking on a player and losing the ball. Do you know what I mean? For me, it's putting your foot on the ball, playing it backwards, just that safety play all the time. Forget all that. Go forward. Just have a go at it.
Nice.
Love this guy. Yeah.
He is exciting and cheap.
Yeah.
And I don't know why no one else snapped him up. So we got to say kudos to the recruitment guys. They do seem to pull some rabbits out of their hat somewhere or something out their arse. But okay, here's the next one. Jonty, this is you. So have a go at Adam Forshaw.
Yeah. I mean, the goal has changed a lot of probably his score sort of thing. The times that I've seen him, he's not really stood out for me, but he's never made a really horrible mistake either. So he's probably a classic player of doing the ugly stuff brilliantly. I don't think he's as creative as your Tronstad, your Travis, your Buckleys. There's a position for him. If we're probably playing your Sheffield United's away, your Sunderland's away, or something like that, and you needed 2 deep midfielders in Travis and Tronstad, and maybe just play him somewhere along that side of it, sort of thing. But yeah, he's I don't think he's not going to blow us away, sort of thing. He's probably a safe pair of hands. I you know I spoke to a couple of Plymouth fans, and they didn't mind him that much. But equally, they weren't bothered that he left the club either, sort of thing. So he's towards his latter end. Maybe he's one of these guys that will make a really, really good coach. But he's. I suppose his goal has probably boosted him yesterday from a 5/6 out of 10 to maybe a 7. I'm going to sit on the fence. I'm going to do a Denver. That's a new saying, by the way, Denver. We were talking about
It's
this
not a new
yesterday.
thing at all, mate. Don't worry about it.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to say 7.
Yep.
I mean the goal yesterday. Let's take nothing away from that. I thought he took that brilliantly. In fact, to the point where I thought it was a miss hit yesterday. I thought he'd actually gone for a cross, but no, he absolutely placed that. So fair play to the guy. Long may it continue. Hopefully he'll get a bit more confidence from that. And yeah, it was surprised to see him on the team sheet and Buckley dropped to the bench, sort of thing. I understand why it was, and it's paid off a treat, sort of thing. But yeah. Good luck to him. Good luck to him. I want the guy to do well.
My question to you now, Jonty, is: so you've given Adam Forster a 7, yeah, but Dion Sanderson's a 6. So would you say he's had more of an impact than Dion Sanderson?
Yeah, well, just to be clear, you gave him a 6. I would have personally given him an 8. So
I think that's really high for what we've seen. I would have maybe given Adam Forster a 5 because that's sitting on the fence. That's smack bang in the middle. I think he's not set the world alight, but I think he's not been bad either. So 5 out of 10. It's like that's on the fence. So
yeah,
he's someone on the fence.
He's not had a
I'll
lot
give
of
you some
goals.
sin on the fence. I would have given him a 6, right? Between the 5 and the 7.
Yeah, well, I said that up until the goal yesterday, but I thought he had a good game yesterday.
Yeah, he played well yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
I think
Yeah,
a lot
he
of
did.
people played well yesterday, though, at the end of the day. Like Campbell, I think, had a good game, but I think they let us almost towards the end as well. I think their heads had gone at that point. But no, he had a good game. Yeah.
Okay, well, the next one's a tricky one because we've only seen a few minutes in the Wolves game, but it is Manuel Dennis. So we're going to gauge him on what you know of him previously and the glimmer that you saw of him in the Wolves game.
I mean, he was an exciting signing to Watford player and not Forest player. He didn't set the world alight at Forest, but he did really well at Watford. And I think what I've seen of him at Wolves, against against Wolves, and he played really well. Like without setting the world alight, and maybe for that game we needed a Miktar Gay. He did really well. I really don't I'm surprised that we've not seen more of him maybe off the bench. Like yesterday, once we'd gone 2-0 up, I might have brought him on for Gay, but Gay was so effective. We never made that change. But honestly, Dennis, I think he's a player who has had lots of game time and he'll need game time to get up to speed. But I think he could be a real threat, maybe off the wings, maybe, or play up around Gay. But he was. Like against Wolves, without he had his moments where he went down to Weeders on all that Premier League nonsense, I guess people might say. But no, honestly, I think we've got a real good player there, and I'm a bit almost upset that we've not seen more of him. But no, I think we've got a good striker there, and let's see who gets ahead. Will it be Ohashi or will it be Dennis who get in that spot? Will Ohashi get back in ahead of Gay at the minute?
It's a lovely headache to have, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, at the minute, and let's just hope we can see the best of all three of them, and hopefully score some goals for us.
So number.
Yeah, true. Very good point. I'd say what we've seen. I can't. I'm gonna have to give him a 6. We've not seen enough of him, but I think we've got a really good player here. I do think we've got a really good player. It's a 6.
6.
I think that's an injustice. I don't think you can give him a score because we've literally not seen enough of him. Ironically, you're covering the 6 with his face, so we've not seen enough of him, and we still can't see enough of him.
It's the same with Carbo. No, I know he's only come on for very short appearances, but we've given him a 9. So to give him that, he's only come on for 5 or so minutes in 2 games.
Yeah, but I think Dennis is a really, really strong signing, sort of, albeit temporary, but yeah, I think it's a really good move, and this is what makes me scratch my head about all this Wagger out, Venky's out, and things like that. It was disappointing for me to hear that shit yesterday, sort of thing. I know, some fans are frustrated, but we've just won 2 on the bounce, 2 games. Well, certainly one game that we didn't expect to win. In and amongst all the turmoil, we don't need all that Venky's out and Wagger out and things like that. Looking at this transfer window now in January, albeit it came a little bit late, but we're looking at some solid performances, some solid people there, sort of thing. I think Dennis is a really, really difficult one to score because we've not seen enough of him. Cabarro, I can only base it on the minutes I've seen of him. Personally, I would have given Dennis a 7, maybe an 8, 7.5, maybe if Dirk's sort of poetic license would have allowed that and imagery as well. But
good.
Yeah, but no, for me, they're exciting people to have around the club. So it's yeah. Like I said, I was disappointed to hear all the Venky's out and Wagger rhymes with anchor. I just, there's a time and a place for that, and the last few days is certainly not that for me.
Well, I yes, 2 wins and the bounce is all great and everything like that, but and we'll dig into that in a little bit, just by some of the names that have been bandied about potentially to, and that could all be paper talk, but if they're considering some of these names, it is balmy. But anyway, what we have got the final one, and if you struggle to assess this guy, how the heck are you going to assess this guy, Corley Woodrow?
Yeah.
Yes. So I've got a really, really good Luton Town friend, a guy called Michael Crooks, and instantly, as soon as we got Woodrow on our squad number, I was just like, yeah, I need to text Michael. I need to find out what this guy's all about. And I quote, Woodrow is a good finisher, just never got a long run of games for us. To which I gave him the thumbs up emoji. So for me, yeah, I think he's probably a little bit like a John Buckley, that he might go a little bit rusty if he doesn't get enough games. But is he going to get that run of games? That's my concern. But yeah, I've seen a couple of glimpses of him, and he looked hungry enough. I can't even remember which game it was. Was it QPR?
Wolves.
Yeah. He looked hungry enough. He looked like a bit of a nuisance as well. But his intent is right. His ambition is right. So, like I say, he's probably just not one of these players that you can bring off the bench. Buckley's exactly that. You can't just bring him off the bench and expect him to change the game. I think it's probably fair to say that we all agree on this podcast now that Buckley's just getting better and better and better with each game, which has been my argument throughout the whole of the season. Is that just give him game time, just let him get back up to speed, and he'll produce goods. And Woodrow, yeah, we've not seen enough of him. I'll probably sit on the fence and give him a 7 now. I'm just because he's tried. He's got his head down and he looked a half decent player, sort of thing. I've seen a hell of a lot worse people come off the bench, off a few games and try and make an impact. But yeah.
All right, well, that's a good summary of our additions. Yeah, no real stinkers thus far. Anyway, yeah, and I think the proof is in the pudding, and we'll see. Hopefully, with the likes of Dennis, with the likes of Woodrow, when they get more minutes, that we will those numbers might be not only justified but even exceeded. What we're going to do now is we're going to remove this bad boy, and we're going to go to this, and then if Jacob's ready, he's also here now. He's out on his travels. How you devil are you, Jacob? Can you hear us?
I think this is a Roverseas first. I'm here on a rail replacement bus from Manchester.
Trying to find your way back home. Well, glad that you can join us. We're going to hop over to the next topic, and this is going to be maybe an end of a chapter here. Let's talk about this guy. Let's all put it out on the table here. If I can, how do I do that? Where did it go?
I haven't seen
Jonty's on the big screen there. It is John Eustace. He's now Derby County's problem, and not I wouldn't say problem, but responsibility. I'll start with you, Jacob, seeing as if you can speak. Well, he's gone. He doesn't want to talk about it. He's still
He
still
see
crying.
John Eustace's face and he got upset. And he went.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, Johnny's here." But anyway, okay, Denver, you kick us off.
Well-
Wrap this saga up in your eyes. He's moved from a club from in the playoffs to a club that's relegated, or not relegated. They're not relegated yet, but they might be. It's closer to home. There's a bigger project, etc., etc. Yeah. So give us your feeling of this move. Give us your sort of, is it a blessing in disguise? Is it something, or are you angry about it? Just give us your take about it all.
So if you asked me this, well, you did ask me this when would it have been?
Last week, I think.
It would have been last week sometime when we were on the podcast, and I was fuming at the time. Like at this point, I think we just announced that he was going to speak to Derby, and it was heavily likely that he was going to go. Of course, things have happened now. He's gone, and we've had 2 wins since then. So I'm in a bit of a happier mood in terms of Blackburn Rovers anyway. But look, I get it from his perspective, by the looks of things, the owners. I know Jonty was on about all the fan reaction and all the the background stuff, and to a degree I understand where the fans are coming from. But when things are going well, all that kind of stuff seems to quieten down, doesn't it? And then when things rise up back to the surface again, this happens. And I'm sure when JDT went, all Venky's out stuff came about, and it just seems to at the end of the day, you can see the owners aren't there. The owners aren't really in conversation with what the project is. That's the issue at the minute with the club. So of course Eustace at this point has gone to speak to the owners. What's the project? What do we want to do as a club moving forward? He's wanted significant investment. He's not got it. As the club statement says, a significant investment. All of them are 1-year loan signings or 1 year contract signings. Like I said, we've got a massive issue come the summer with players' contracts running down. I can see from that aspect, if you're, I'm looking at the club's perspective with my heart on my chest. I love the club to bits, but if you're not inclined that way, and you've got to, you've played for a club that want you, you've been headhunted, that ego boost in general already says that it does look a little bit, and the owner there is talking to you and they're saying that they want to build this project, they want to be pushing for the heights of the Premier League in a few years' time if they stay up. I can understand it, honestly. Like it just seems a mess behind the scenes in terms of recruitment and players coming in. Bearing in mind, as much as we want to praise, Dennis' signing, he wasn't our first choice. He wasn't. We had the Egyptian fella, and we had all these other players that we wanted to sign, and they never materialised. And then last minute we go, we can get this. We can get Dennis on loan. And as much as it looks like a really good signing, it isn't the first. And I'm sure we're going to have problems like that coming up in the future. And if you can't get your first, your intended targets, when you're looking at clubs around us spending big money to try and get up, and we're not looking like that, and we're looking like in the summer contracts are running down. No, it is looking quite bleak, or potentially bleak anyway. You never know what's going to happen. So I can see why he's gone for that aspect. Of course, it's close. Just everything seems more convenient at Derby, and and good luck to him to a degree. But at the same time, you can promise all these things, and still not get them. Derby could say, "Oh, we want to do this," and then comes to it, and again they get done for financial fair play and breaches and get points deductions and get relegated like they did last time. So look, as a Blackburn fan, I was gutted. I'm just hoping that we get the next bit of recruitment right with the coach, and we get someone in, and hopefully we do have the same ambitions as Derby seemingly have, and we want to get promoted, and we want to have significant investment in the club. We want to keep our best players, but also bearing in mind if an option comes where we sell them on, like we have done with the Sammy Schmonics and Adam Waters, we do, but we've got to get the right players back in, and that's my worry. I hope that that doesn't happen. So look, I think depending who we get in, it could potentially be a blessing in disguise, because we were looking a little bit, with 5 losses in 6. So hopefully that things turn around. I don't know if that's a coincidence that all these players are now coming back and we're hitting a bit of form, or it was a bit of a Eustace, I'm going to show you what we're kind of made of. It might be a bit of both, but let's hope for the rest of the season we can really kick on, and we'll see what happens to Derby, because everyone's always talking about them losing 4-0, and it was great fun. Like, one of the girls that I coached, she's a Derby fan, and it's been great having a bit of banter with her about that. After she had a bit of go at me that they stole our manager, but it's one game. I'm sure Eustace, once he gets his teeth into it, will make it do a good job there. But look, let's just see what happens the rest of the season and who we bring in, really, ultimately.
Yeah. Johnny, before I hand it to you, I just want to say, yes, I was a bit of an instigator in a lot of that jibber jabber on Twitter, and yeah, it's all good fun and everything. But we got to give credit to John Eustace for doing what he did. He built us into a strong defensive team. Hopefully, the foundations of that will continue to whatever the next chapter is with Blackburn Rovers. So I am grateful for his time. The way he, and from what we had led to believe, how he conducted his business is a little bit sleazy and a little bit down and dirty. But I do wish him well. I kind of still want him relegated just for shits and giggles. But I just, I got to give him the kudos for doing what he did. We were a mess. He was a great coach, great manager. It's just a bit of a sour way that all panned out. That's my final thing about John Eustace. John T, what is your takeaway, or your, because we talked about him over the podcast for a few episodes, etc., and he was always in good standing with everybody, even through the bumps and the bruises of form. But now, it might have tainted that a little bit. But I want to know your current 2025 opinion of him and the whole saga.
Yeah, I was exactly. There was a bit of a wry smile if you watch this back. As soon as you said the word grateful, there's a wry smile, because in front of me, in my notes, because my memory at 47 years old is shit, I wrote grateful. I am eternally grateful. My feelings, my thoughts on JDT. I think the guy, he was only taking us one way. John Eustace, when he came in, he had an absolute uphill challenge. We were staring down the barrel of relegation. We had some really, really tough games. I felt sorry for the next person to come in after JDT. And John Eustace, whilst he's not held up in the high esteem that I have for Tony Mowbray, who turned us around from literally League One. He took us, yes, he got us well, he's a name of the manager that took us down into League One, but he wasn't responsible for that. I will be eternally grateful for Tony Mowbray. West Brom away, Mowbray, what's the score? I would never sing that. I don't blame the Rovers fans for singing that, but I would personally never sing that, because I will be eternally grateful for what Tony Mowbray did for Blackburn Rovers, because we were doomed. If we'd stayed in League One more than one season, we would still be there now. And so he stabilised that ship more than anyone I think will ever really appreciate. John Eustace is absolutely up there. We were going down into League One. He steadied the ship. We had some really good results with him, Leicester and Leeds, and we had some shit results as well. Birmingham away, we lost 1-0, and Bristol City we lost. I think it was just 4 or 5, wasn't it? But that's detail. Don't worry about that. But no, listen, really, really grateful to the guy. I wish him well, but I wish him well in League One with Derby, which is where I hope they end up, to be fair, because it has left a really, really bitter taste in the mouth. Having said that, we're on a torrid run of form with Eustace. He started sounding like a bit of a broken record, all this togetherness, and his post-match interviews didn't really change, sort of thing. He was always a smiley guy, and you talk about a project at Derby. So I was thinking, well, he must have signed a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year contract, because that's a project to me. I mean, I don't subscribe to any of this shit anyway, but it's a 7 or 8, 9-year contract, right? No, it's 2.5 years. 2.5 years. What a load of dog shit that is. So, I mean, the first question, if I was being interviewed, or the chairman was wanting me at the company, I'd be like, well, why are you only giving me a 2.5-year contract if you believe in me and you want to start this project, sort of thing? So, good luck to him. I think his head's been turned. I get that he's closer to his family. I know what that's like sometimes. I work away, quite a lot, sort of thing, and it's tough being away. And if somebody offered me a little bit more money to stay and carry on doing the job, yeah, I probably would. But he's The thing that gets me, and I mentioned it on Jacob's vlog yesterday, is that whenever a manager seems to be doing a little bit shit at Rovers, it just seems a really convenient excuse to blame the hierarchy, to blame that the club's a little bit broken, and we don't know what kind of ripple effect that has on anybody half decent thinking about going to Blackburn Rovers. You might, be thinking, actually, no, it's a bit of a broken club. You know what? If you want to go, just have the balls to say, I'm going. Do you know what I mean? It's the money's better. I'm closer to my family. I want to go. Don't start bringing all this shit into it about the Venkies, about the transfer windows and all that shit. There might be some truth in that, but we've just on there just had a look at the signings of that, whether they're Eustaces or not. But they've all done pretty well for as a start off for Rovers. I can name, if you go back 5 years ago, then I'm pretty sure that some of the signings on there they would have been getting a 3 or a 4. Because we're very honest, aren't we? But no, I'm grateful for John Eustace. I wish him well in League One. It's a dog shit way to finish something that could have been beautiful. But we move on, don't we?
We do move on, and we are going to do that right here, right now. So, back into my old selection box. I'm going to give you the 6 names that are touted by the bookies, and that means could be absolutely nonsense. These names might not even be in the consideration, but I'm led to believe some of them are, and I'm going to do them one by one again, reveal, and you're going to grade them A to F. A being amazing, F being fucking atrocious. Do not come anywhere near my club. So again, Jonty spoke last. So Denver, you are first. You have got to. And again, if you don't know too much about him, because there might be 1 or 2 names in here, you're like, who the fuck's this guy? And just say, I don't know who he is, and I feel not qualified to quote.
Denver, just take your time on this one, mate, because I need to pee. So you take your time on this one, mate.
This one is a discussion, and I think he's got some admirers in the chat. So, Denver, while Jonty goes to the bathroom,
I just need to see who it is.
Stevie Gerrard. Stevie Gerrard. So, Denver, talk about the ex-Liverpool legend, but as a player, manager, did all right in Scotland with Rangers, had a crack at Aston Villa, didn't do that good, they didn't like him. He went to Saudi Arabia for the money, and his name has been bandied about as a possible successor to John Eustace. What do you think about Stevie Gerrard?
Yeah, of course. I reckon. I'm not gonna lie. His record since Rangers hasn't, it hasn't blown me away. His time in Saudi, but I know that's a completely different environment. I mean, I don't know. Ultimately, the answer I have is I don't know how I feel about it. It's one of the it's the name signing, right? Your Frank Lampard, your Wayne Rooney. No one wants to touch Wayne Rooney now, and it might be a similar thing with Stevie Gerrard. But I know, I see it in the chat. Loads of people really seem to like Gerrard, maybe for the name's sake rather than his coaching ability. But he has done it at Rangers. I'm sure Todd Cantwell wouldn't mind. I don't know actually if Todd Cantwell there post Gerrard, wasn't it?
No, I don't know. He might have been, but
yeah, it doesn't. If I've seen Steven Gerrard on that, and on if we Blackburn Rovers are proud to announce that we've signed Steven Gerrard as our head coach or manager or whatever the case is, I wouldn't go, wow, what a signing, like some players would be, or a manager would be. But saying that, also, when we signed Tony Mowbray, I wasn't blown away. When we signed, JDT, even I didn't know who he was. Signing John Eustace, I was like, he's the guy who was at Birmingham and didn't, I wasn't exactly excited. So it wouldn't be a surprise. Again, it'd be the same feeling ultimately. But if we did sign him, we would judge him on what he's going to do next, and depending on how it went, we'd see. But yeah, of course, we've got to see what Stephen Gerrard's about, and we'll see if he can do a job.
So, Ada, if you were to grade him like a high score or a school report card, what would you say your excitement or hireable level would it be? Would it be a B or C?
I'd say a C minus. If I was going to give him anything, I think C's like just about passed. You just about passed. But I you're not like got your A stars or your A's. So I'm happy with a C minus.
So I'll just chip in on it. I like the name. So with tactical ability, I don't know. But the appeal, the bringing the eyes to Blackburn Rovers, bringing more, possibly more fans to Blackburn Rovers, that could be a factor here. Of course, his connections in the game are probably good. He might have a little black book of Liverpool really, but still have a little black book of buddies in the footballing world. So that could be an option. But yeah, the tactical side of his record is not great. And I think even me, I was going to say even Denver, but Denver's got a coach. He is a coach. But even me, I could probably string a couple of results together in Scotland, especially with Rangers. So I don't think we should be looking at his Rangers history too much. John, do you want to chip in on Stevie Gerrard?
Yeah, I have so much respect for that guy. I really, really do. I think the way he's conducted himself throughout the whole of his career has been exceptional. Really, he's never been in the headline news for anything, cheating on his wife or going out on a major stag do and embarrassing himself. So, he's what?
Go to Chelsea. Would never do that.
No, of course. No, I do like the guy. For me, and I think this is going to be kind of deja vu throughout the whole of it, is who can get a tune out of a decent championship squad. Because, like I said to you before, unless I'm deluded, I honestly believe that this squad of players that we've got are good enough to be battling for Premiership or Premier League, sorry, whether that's I said it right at the start of the season. Obviously, it looks like it's going to be playoffs now. I don't think we can ever imagine automatics. There's still 13 games to go, so there's still a hell of a lot of points to pick up. But I honestly believe that anybody coming into this club should be excited by it. Forget what's going on with Venky's, forget Waggett and all the other stuff that fans may sing about. But if you just keep the eyes on your prize, and I think if you'd asked me sort of maybe this time last week, Sunday or Monday, I would have been a lot more inclined to say yes, Stevie Gerrard, absolutely. I think as the week's gone on now, I'm less inclined. I would probably give him a C, not a C minus, but yeah. I wouldn't be gutted if Stevie Gerrard came in. In fact, I don't know. I think if any manager came in at the minute, I think I'd be a little bit gutted. I'd like to see out the people that we've got at the minute. I think this sort of 15 managers that we've currently got, 15, I know it's led by Mr. Lowe, but we've got Damien Johnson and the like that are supporting. C for me for Gerrard.
Okay, well, I might be coming on to those guys at the end of this thing here, because one of those chaps is in the bookies odds. So these are the top 6. So the next one, again, this one's it goes under the radar a little bit, but he's currently doing all right with Dylan McCartney's boys, Leighton Orient. Nope, I'm going the different way, actually. I fooled you all. It's actually Lee Carsley, ex-England, currently England under-21 coach, former England caretaker manager, former Blackburn Rovers player back in the day. John T, what are your thoughts on this ex-Rovers midfield dynamo, if we can call him that?
Yeah, I mean, he was a half decent player for Rovers. I think for me, we've not seen him in the Championship, unless I'm, and forgive me through any of this, because my education through all of other managers is not great. But as far as I'm aware, he's not managed any other Championship club. I think at this time of the season, it's such a tough one, isn't it? Because it's such a tough call to make now. Do you stick with what you've got, you Mr. Lowe's, or do you bring in a new manager, and upset the apple cart? Are we better looking in the summer for a manager when there's a bit of more of a managerial, circus or merry-go-round. It's a tough one, but Lee Carsley, I don't know. He's not exciting me. The fact that he's wearing the England badge, it's completely different type of football at international level. Are we going to see a JDT where he's trying to play it out from the back and it's just not going to work in the Championship? I don't know. For me, he's a C minus. It's not doing it for me. I know this kind of this whole managerial thing is going to divide the whole club, sort of thing. There'll be some people watching this now screaming like I'm an absolute knobhead. He's an A. We must get him and what have you. I agree that I'm a knobhead. It's the A that we need to challenge and question.
Right. Well, the next one might be a more favourable option. Denver, unless you want to chip in on Carsley, you want me to move on the next one?
I agree to the aspect, but I mean, we don't know what he's a rogue in the aspect of league football. But the option that we've got, there's nothing exactly screaming out to me that this is the obvious signing. Yeah, you get your Steve Coopers, but then we have the issues with that, and you have your Gary O'Neills, and you've got your issue. Every manager's going to be a risk ultimately. But you've got to find one that fits the mold that we've got currently with the crop that we've got as well. So Lee Carsley, I'm happy with a C minus. It's just such an unknown entity. I know he's done well with the England squad to a degree, but what a squad that is. So
yeah. We actually read my mind because the next one is Gary O'Neill, Wolverhampton Wanderers ex-coach, ex-manager, Bournemouth ex-manager, and is a name that's been in with the bookies since get-go. And what is your thoughts on him?
I think for me, he's probably my favourite out of the group, other than Steve Cooper, who ideally I would like to have, but I just feel like it's going to be unrealistic with the whole Forrest and O'Brien incident that we had a few years back. And I think Gary O'Neill would probably be the next best thing. He's probably looking at it, he did really well at Bournemouth. They looked down and out, and he's kept them up, and now look at them flying. I know he didn't stay on at Bournemouth for whatever reason he did. Ended up going to Wolves, and it never quite worked out there. But the Blackburn project is very different. There's again shoestring budget and owners who are a bit awkward to work with, but I think he could do a job. And you know what, we're looking at quite a favourable position, especially now that we won two of our last games. Without a manager, I'm sure we're looking and all these players coming back. It's probably an exciting project for anyone who's coming in. I know long term it might be an issue, but if someone thinks they could do us a job and get us into the Premier League now, like Gary O'Neill probably thinks possibly we could, and get back to the Premier League first time of asking, it's not an outrageous decision. But I'd say it's more promising than the last two. Let's say it that much. I'd say B minus around there. I'd quite happily have Gary O'Neill as a decent option.
I'm going to stick a B just for giggles. There we go.
There you go.
John, do you want to chip in on Mr. O'Neill?
No, I'd agree with that. I think I'm trying to preempt as to who else you're going to bring up on this, but I think I would probably go for a B with Gary O'Neill. If we had to take a manager at this point, it will be Gary O'Neill. Yeah.
Okay. Well, again, these aren't my picks. These are the top 6 in the bookies, and this guy next one is one of them. And he is De La Marcande's current manager. It is Richie Wellens of Leyton Orient. He got them promoted via League 2 a couple seasons ago, I think. Now he's in the playoffs with them in League 1. That's Leyton Orient. The verb or the vibe I'm getting from Leyton Orient fans or just people that know of Richie Wellens is he doesn't do well with awkward owners. So could be a non-starter on this one. Do you know anything at all about Mr. Wellens, Jonty?
I know very little about him. I know I had to Google him when he was linked with Rovers. Didn't excite me. It's one of those, and he could come in and be an absolute genius, or he could come in and he could die on his arse, couldn't he? So I don't think we're in a position where we can gamble, not with so many players' contracts coming up. I think we need a bit of a name in there. So for me, he's a D, if not, well, maybe an E. I'm going to go for an E. I'm going to go for an E. Yeah,
And
he's not one for me.
right, and he also is in work, which would cost money, and they're saying 250,000. So
Not worth it.
looks
Yeah,
like
I strongly agree with that one. I think just not, the risk that's gonna be, and in the position that we're in as well, like
Mhm.
it just doesn't make sense, let's not ruin Leighton Orient's, pot and let's
Yeah, they
keep
could.
them there.
I'm actually loving what keeping up with Leighton Orient, especially with Mark on days. He's hit the ground running there, and they just seem to be on something right now. And I do like what's happening there at Leighton Orient, and I agree with you. It's kind of like what what's his name, Ainsworth did with Wickham. He was just grinding out the results, and but I think they're playing much better Leighton Orient than Ainsworth was at Wickham. But they're just doing so well. So why disrupt the flux there? Next name you're going to love, because this guy, I don't even know. I don't even know why he's even in discussion. But I know he was a coach at Rovers to a point, one of the backroom team, and it is Mr. George Boateng. And he's bloody getting a lot of coverage right now. And he's when we'll show you the odds in a minute, he's up there, like up there. But again, these odds could be nonsensical. They could be, only one person's putting money on him, and that's why he's where he is. But Denver.
So yeah, honestly, I'd love to be able to give you a spiel on the guy, but I know nothing about him. I couldn't tell you
what I can tell you is he actually he did do some he had some coaching time at Blackburn Rovers. He was part of the staff of somebody. It might have been Mowbray, it might have been JDT or something. Wasn't there long. So he's worked with the owners. I guess he's highly rated as a coach, but
what's he currently doing now? Where is he now? I don't know.
I don't know. I think he was most recently a backroom dude at Coventry.
Yeah,
and again, no real first team management.
Yeah, he's not done anything at this level, and what we're asking of him is to get us promoted with the team that we've got. It's a big ask for someone who's never really been in the hot seat, and of course, these scenarios are people are going to have a chance, to do it. We the likes of, Eustace, of course, had that experience when we brought him in, but ultimately it was a gamble to have this guy try and rescue us from where we were, but. Where we're at now, it's just not exactly what we need, especially in the time of the season, where we are in the season, and what potentially could be at risk or reward in the scenario that we're in. It just doesn't fill me with, imagine being a player, just being like, the who? I'm sure maybe some of them have worked with him in the past, but it's like, you want that bit of inspiration, especially if you want to go for it. But then saying that Venky's and whoever in the backroom staff, the boards of directors, haven't really shown us that impetus for a while. Again, with any of the signings we've had recently. But look, if he's an E, I'd say E minus already. Again, it doesn't. I don't know who he is. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I'll give a bit of backstory. He's actually a famous name in the Premier League from the 90s. He was on Villa's books a lot of the time, defensive midfielder back in the day. But yeah, his coaching credits aren't that good, or especially first team. But as you look at the comments, guys are saying he's cheap, but hopefully the people making the decisions can realize where we are and what a position we are in at the moment, than to not do something as daft as this. Jonty, you know anything on Boateng, or
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm going to give you a really childish answer. He's wearing a Blackpool tie. Not interested, mate.
Is he better or worse than Wellens? So I can get my letter ready.
E minus. Not interested.
Yeah, I'd say worse than Wellings. At least Wellings has experience.
Yeah,
You're gonna love the odds.
We you know what? If Boateng goes and takes a championship club next season and gets to the playoff, we're all going to be sat here like dickheads. We'll probably have to quit what we're doing. But I'm prepared to put my head above the parapet at this moment in time and just say he's not for us right now.
Okay. Well, leaving to my number 6, and I think right now a lot of people will be What? What? It's Mr. Lowe, David Lowe, and the gang.
Oh,
David Lowe and the gang is like a E Street band. It's Bruce Springsteen. It's the boss. It's the it's David Lowe and the boys. In the odds. He's in the odds. He's doing all right in the odds. But that's what happens when you went back to back. Who wants to chip in on David Lowe and the E Street band?
Yeah, I'll go first. He's 100% win rate so far year to date. Nobody expected us to beat West Brom. Plymouth was a tough gig. The fact that they came to Ewell Park and gave us as much respect as what they did, fair play to Mr. Lowe. It'll be interesting because he's got a full week on the grass with them now to really set his stall out how he wants to set up at home against Swansea. Away at the weekend. I think that, you know what, for me, he deserves a chance till the end of the season. We've got nothing to lose. I've liked what I've seen in the last 2 games. We seem to be playing with a little bit more freedom. So yeah, why not? Why not? He seems a very genuine guy. There's something that you like about him. He's just one of those guys that you can warm to him. He's almost slightly vulnerable. Do you know what I mean? He has that air of vulnerability about him where, you know what, you probably run through walls for him. I've seen that in my career, not anywhere near football, but he's just a really likable guy, just an innocent guy, and you just want to work your bollocks off for him. So I won't be too disappointed with him. I think if we signed him on a 4-year contract, I'd be slightly more worried. But, if somebody said to me right now that you've got him till the end of the season, I'd be like, yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. It's a bit of a free hit that is, and that's to paraphrase one of your phrases, Dirk, is for me, it's a bit of a free hit. I never, in my wildest dreams, thought we'd finish in the top 6 this season. I always thought we'd finish 8th or 9th. I thought Eustace was good enough at the start of this season. And, if you want to rewind, if you're sad enough to rewind all the way back to sort of August when we did our first podcasts, I was quietly confident for an 8th or 9th finish. I thought we were going to exceed that. And you know what? I think with David Lowe, I think we might do that if we stick with him. But the problem then is that in the summer there'll be a few managers that go, and then we're in for a tougher gig. So there's an argument that yes, we might be better to get somebody like Gary O'Neill now, whilst he's out of employment, whilst and we might not finish in the playoffs. It's a really, really tough one, and Waggett will get it wrong according to the fans, whichever route he takes. If he goes with Lowe, then we should have got Gary O'Neill way before that. And you know what I mean? It's a no-win. My plea to Rovers fans is just go and support the team. None of this Venky's out shit, none of this Waggett out shit. Just go and support the lads that are playing on the field. If you want to protest, that's fine. Do it before the match, do it after the match. But we're not helping Blackburn Rovers' cause here. We've had Venky's for the last 12, 13 years. Jack shit's changed from the shitty little winky wanky process that you're doing. Just crack on. Just support the team that are playing out there. So anyway, where were we? Mr. Lowe, B minus, yeah.
B minus.
I'd say B minus. I'm quite, I'd probably pick a Gary O'Neill over it. Ultimately, right now, it's as much as he's doing a great job now. I'm looking at him as a manager, and he looks like an amazing guy. But when the chips are down, I don't know how much of his character he's going to be able to get the team up and up for a fight ultimately, and trying to. That's the only thing I know. I think he's going well at the minute, and I know himself in his head. He's if I'm a player sitting in a dressing room, he's only here because of the situation that we found ourselves in. Of course, if the board give him that opportunity to have the rest of the season, he'll do it, and vice versa. But he's not. I'd probably want someone in there who's like, do you know what? I want to take this team. I want to push this team to the next level. Where Lowe, I love him to bits. He reminds me of Tony Parks. I wasn't around when Tony Parks was around, but that's the kind of vibe I get in terms of caretaking, coming in and doing a good job. I would happily give him the rest of the season. I wouldn't have an issue with it. But of course, when you're looking at the position that we find ourselves in, And next season, you look at the teams potentially coming up and coming down, and the atmosphere of the Championship next season. And like I said, it's a low tide at the minute for where we are in the playoffs. If we were any other season, we find ourselves, mid-table or just outside the playoffs. The playoffs, again, you look at it as the top 4 teams and then our bracket. And typically, when you're on 50 points around the season, you are 9th, 10th in the league. So again, that low tide does. Is this opportunity going to come around again next season, the season after? Probably not. So you're going to try and take this chance now, get a manager and who's looking to push us, to get into those, this chance to get us in the Premier League, the promised land. And is Lowe the man to do that?
I agree. Yeah, I think you've nailed it there, Denver. I think, the 2 biggest caveats for me about Mr. Lowe is what's going to happen when we lose, when the wheels fall off. Is he the guy to galvanise the team, the squad, and everything like that? The jury's out for me. He's a lovely chap. There's only so many walls he'll run through, but also what kind of names can he attract to the club?
Yeah.
You look at this guy in the top left-hand corner, Stevie Gerrard. He will, like you said, Dirk, a little black book and he'll have all the contacts and all the connections in the right places. So it's honest to God, this is such a tough decision for Mr. Waggett now, because what do? Do you go early? Do you get a manager? And you're thinking a little bit further down the line, do you just go with the flow and just ride it out with Mr. Lowe? And if we end up at Wembley, and you know what? Who knows? We could win the playoff final. We could get promoted. And then what? I mean, you wouldn't go with Mr. Lowe, surely, with David. I've got to stop calling him that, haven't I? But, you would then be looking for a Premier League manager or somebody at least with experience, or it's a game changer. But you know what? I wouldn't like to be Mr. Waggett at the minute, Steve Waggett at the minute. I've got to stop calling him by the first name. I'm like, Jesus, what's wrong with me?
Well,
Mr. Green, what do you think?
Well, here's what I think. I'll say my piece right now. So Lowe, maybe there's a way, a position where we can see what happens on Swansea and then make a decision the following, Sunday, Monday. If he wins, then maybe go for it. If we loses, then I don't know. Then we'll see the backlash there, because that's what's going to happen as soon as we lose. The fans are going to be, we've made the stupidest decision. If Lowe's given the job, I think if we were 12th in the table, no hope of going up, no go down, stick with David Lowe to the end of the campaign. But we are in this position. We're in an okay spot right now. It is an opportunity that we may not see again for 5 more years, 10 more years, who knows? So, as you said, very difficult call to make. But the names on the sheet right now, I'm going to reveal the odds, and you might be surprised.
Do you know what's going to happen, Dirk? It's going to be David Lowe, win, give him the job, lose.
Yeah.
You just know it. You just know it.
It is. That's probably the scenario. I mean, can we see all that? Yeah, we can see all that. So this is the current odds. Currently, George Boateng is the favourite, 6-4. Then it's Lee Carsley, 5-2. Stevie G is 4-1. David Lowe 6-1. Gary Neal 10-1. Richie Wellens 10-1 at the moment. So hopefully that's just, people are saying that it could be agent talk that's led to Boateng being as high as he is.
Well, odds, aren't they? Like, I mean, Stephen Cooper was on there a few days ago.
I think they just threw some names out and see what stuck. And I'm going to do a video tomorrow about. I've been doing a sort of paper trail of what the journalists are saying. Mainly Alan Nixon, who seems to have fingers in the pies at Ewood, and he's been dropping names. And I'm trying to piece the story together. And George Boateng was one of the names. Boa Morte is another one. And now in the chat, it has been mentioned they were interviewed today. Somebody says on Talk Radio they said those 2 were interviewed today. But I've got down 7 names that are going to be there, or that one of the 7 should be, if what I've been following is correct. But another question is: David Lowe expressed any interest in taking over this role, on a permanent basis? Or is he just muddling along and seeing, just taking every day as it comes? Is he somebody that said, "Yeah, I'm applying for the job"? Has anyone got a sound bite that has said that he's quoted at that? Probably. I've not heard him say those words. I'm interested in the job.
I like how he's just a guy that rides the crest of the wave. I think he mentioned on Radio Lancashire that he's not really had much time to think about it. When he was questioned about it. I mean, the only name that would absolutely do it for me is Steve Cooper. If he was on there, if Rovers did that's real intent from Rovers. I would pay whatever it takes to get Steve Cooper at the club. I've said that even before his Forest days. I just like the guy. I've seen him line up at E-Ward. It's very, very organised. Very well drilled team sort of thing. Any team he's brought to Ewood before is just like, yeah, big hats off. I think he'll get a real tune out of all these players. Bit surprised that Rob Edwards isn't in and amongst all that, and Ryan Lowe not in and amongst all that. Thank God Ian Everett isn't in and amongst all that. Some names I'm really grateful at, but the only one that will get me off my chair is Steve Cooper. In all of that. So yeah. That's where I see it.
Well, someone said in the chat again earlier, I've been trying to pay attention with the chat, but they're saying Carrick's on his way out and Ryan Edwards or Rob Edwards likely to come in to replace Carrick. Now, Carrick may also become available, but again, I guess it'll be too soon for him to jump straight from one ship to another. But again, that's just what the chat was saying. I've not seen anything, to back that up. But he's on borrowed time, I would imagine, Carrick, because they spent a bit of money. They're always trying to get into the playoffs, and he's had a fair few cracks at it. But that's another scenario. We could buy our time to the end of the season and maybe, get Carrick in next season.
Carrick doesn't it really...
Doesn't excite you?
Yeah, just because, it's Carrick is basically what we are now. We're just outside the playoffs. He's what you want to get someone to really push us into those playoff places, right? I've seen Karanka being mentioned, seen reading the chat and stuff like that. But honestly, realistically, there's no one out there currently that makes me go, yes, we need to sign this manager. Maybe Jurgen Klopp might do, but it's what it is.
Yeah. Okay, now before we wrap it up, just a quick look at the form. If we can see that. I don't know if I can move that away, or maybe I'll move this up a little bit. Well, I'll move it up. So the form, of course, coming into this on like a successive 2-0 wins. 3 wins out of 4 in the league. We're taking out that Wolves game. Of course, the QPR one was a blip on our resume. Let me now spooch that up there. These are the next 6 games. I'll make that big. That's what she says. I'll go right there. Let me get rid of that. Next 6, Swansea away, winnable, no matter who's in charge. Norwich at home, could be winnable. Derby County on the 8th. That one's going to be spicy. Who's going to that game? Anyone going to that game?
I'm planning on going to that game. That'll be the next, because of my schedule at the minute. Next week I'm in Dublin. The week after I'm running football tournaments. So I won't be able to get to Norwich. So
if you're still in a job, Denver, that is, all these,
I know.
all these girls are calling you out, mate.
And I'm down at Norwich watching Blackburn. No, I'm planning on hopefully going to that Derby game, but we'll have to wait and see. So
extra layer of spice on that game.
I'll tell you what, they are all winnable games. They are all winnable games. I bet what you haven't got a graphic for, though, Dirk, is Derby's next 6. So let me tell you, because I've done some research on this.
Go on.
They've got Millwall at home. They've got Borough away. They've got Blackburn at home. They've got Coventry at home. They've got Plymouth away. They've got Preston at home. That is relegation right there in your face, Mr. Eustace. Like I say, I wish you well in League One, but that's the only way I can see it. Don't get me wrong. That's February and March, and they've got a slightly more pleasing to the eye, more aesthetically pleasing to the eye April. But in terms of March and the remainder of February, good luck to Eustace. I know he did it at Rovers, and then people in the chat, I'm sure, were saying, yeah, but we had Leeds away, we had Leicester away, but Leicester were on the beach, let's be honest. I mean, it was a great result, don't get me wrong, but that's a tough
Do
gig.
you think what he's taken on now at Derby is bigger task than what he took on at Blackburn last season?
I'd say so. Yeah, I'd
I
say
think
so.
I think you could. There's the argument for that. I think the only argument really is that they've only just come up from League One. We'd had a few years, and we had a good decent few years. You know, the season before we just narrowly missed out on the playoffs and goal difference. So we had a championship squad relatively. You know, we did lose a few big players. You know, but in terms of the players that we had Sammy Schmolix in our squad. They've got no Sammy Schmolix. You know that, so. They've relatively got a bit of a mix of a League One championship squad. So, look, I'm sure Eustace will be able to get a tune out of them. I'm sure they'll concede a lot less. They might be maybe draw heavy, but it is going to be a big ask. Can I see them surviving? Yes. Can I see them also not because the other teams around them are picking up points and looking good? Also, yes. But we just got to wait and see, and hopefully we'll see them in League One. I mean, I hope that they survive.
Well, hopefully we just beat them on our own backyard.
Yeah,
and
well, ultimately, that's the
I
one.
think that's what I definitely want to happen. I want to make sure
They've-
he gets egg on his face.
They've played one more game as well. Sorry, I should have thrown
Yeah.
that in a little bit earlier. They've also played one more game. It's a tough. I'll tell you what. If Eustace does keep them up, then fair play. He will have exceeded their expectations and my own, because I just can't see a way out of them at this moment in time. I think if they have a really shit March, if that pans out how it potentially could be, looking at it now, then come April, their tail could be, well, they could be well down, you know.
I think-
So
Do you think Luton are down? I'm just looking at them, and they look down and out already.
who's that?
Luton.
Town.
I feel sorry for
They
Luton.
don't look great at the minute. As much as we were like, oh, but they were in the Premier League last season. I think people are still trying to, but they just seem lose and keep losing and keep losing, and it doesn't look great. I think
They've lost
the rest of
key
the teams have
players,
potential
but-
to get out of that. Like even your Plymouth, like I know they've had a good run recently. They lost to us, but you know that can happen sometimes. I think they.
Portsmouth have got a good bit of form in a minute.
It's not. I think Luton are maybe they're probably not the ones in the unless somehow, you know, stranger things have happened. They somehow pull it out, but they I don't know, like they're always that team that you thought, oh, they win the Premier League, that they'll be all right, and they just haven't. And now they're rock bottom, and it's
It would be comedy gold if they get relegated, and Derby
But
and
there's
Hull.
like
I wouldn't mind Hull
some-
going down as well. They spend a bit of cash. I'd like to see them get
Yeah.
sucked into it, and then that would make a hell of a League One next year, because hope was probably Birmingham going to come back up.
Oh,
I hope it's Wickham, and then
Wrexham.
if you leave the Wrexhams and the
Round,
Boltons, and,
I was in Wrexham the other night. Just you know, it's just.
yeah.
The whole Wrexham thing is like it's massive around here now. I remember before the whole Hollywood stuff, no one cared. It was no one like they had the odd Wrexham. I've been to a few Wrexham games because it's like it's like the local big club around the corner, and like, it's easy to get a ticket. No one went, and all of a sudden now this. It's just like
Yeah. To be fair, they couldn't even spell Wrexham before.
No,
Do you know what I mean?
Like
Even
I
the
would
people-
have been on here saying, "Oh, my local big team's Wrexham." You guys have been like, "Who?" But look, hey, it is good for the area, to be fair, and all these kids now wearing Wrexham kits, and it's
Quick question for you, off Rovers topic, but Southampton, obviously they sacked the manager, what, just before Christmas, maybe just after, something like that.
not Russell Martin.
The new manager has come in, probably done even worse than Russell Martin, to be fair. Would you sack him before the end of the season?
It depends what you want to do moving forward. Ultimately, you've got to keep an at this point. If you're Southampton, you're looking right. Championship's going to be inevitable at this point. You've got to look at. It depends who you want to bring in. Ultimately,
Surely
maybe
you would have kept
Steve
Russell Martin, though.
Yeah, if you kept Russell Martin, you would have been prepared for next season.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's stranger things have happened. Who is it? There's some. I can't remember the team it was. They sacked him in December, and then within like 7 or 8 weeks, they've rehired him. I don't know. I can't think of the name.
Oh,
of the
think.
club. I don't know if you know. But
Was it you, Denver? Was it you? Is
Yeah,
this
it
a
was me.
confession?
with
Yeah.
the women's team? No, but honestly, I remember seeing it somewhere where they sacked him within 13 or something weeks. They've rehired him because it's not good.
I know
That's
there was somebody
why-
in Italy. In Italy, that happened.
Yeah, that's when I think that might have been it. But
I
look,
just can't believe, like when you talk about Steve Wagger and the merry-go-round and things like that, that's kind of off the radar, isn't it? But it's like, for me, Southampton, they've just dropped one hell of a bollock, haven't they? Just accept that you're going to go down, keep with Russell Martin. He might have got you back up next season a little bit better, a little bit stronger, a little bit more prepared and what have you. But now, I won't be surprised if they didn't get rid of the current manager before the end of this season, sort of thing. It's just bonkers, isn't it? Absolutely
It is
bonkers.
Well,
Putting
hopefully.
Adam Armstrong on loan.
Say again. What was
Adam
that?
Armstrong, I'd send him Adam Armstrong on loan when it looks like you're about to get relegated, isn't he? The good sign
I
either,
know.
is it?
Well, he
But there you
just
go.
he's a little bit. I don't know. He hasn't really kicked on since he left for Premier
No.
League football. But yeah, hopefully we'll get a decision this week, whether it's Lowe, whether it's somebody on that list, or whether it's somebody that's not on the list. But it could be exciting. It could be morale killing. Hopefully, it's not morale killing. And I'm hopeful that we make the right call. And again, I think John, you might have said it somewhere that they've not made a bad hiring decision recently, right? Like Mowbray is decent, JDT to a point was decent, Eustace was
Owen
pretty
Coyle
decent.
was class.
Well, I'd say after I think John T in the WhatsApp chat said something
No,
about maybe it was Steve. I don't know. Somebody said it, but
it has been the case. But you know, you never know what you're going to get, do you, with the money that you're going to spend and who's available. But now they have done well.
Well, I just want that George Boateng stuff to go away. I don't want him no disrespect. It's just not the time for something like that. We need to get the appointment right, whether it's Lowe, whether it's somebody else. And I am maybe starting to lean towards Stevie G just because he is a name. He could galvanise. He's got some. So, I don't know. But, and again, I don't know even if he will go. He'll come with an entourage, and that's Venky's out of the question as well. Anyway, you guys are amazing. So is everybody else in the chat. It's been a good live, good chat. And we might have another one in this week if it's worthy. But until then, John T, Denver, have a good evening. I'm going to get the dinner on. I'll catch you all later. You guys and everyone else. You guys are